Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is webinar time. Oh, good morning. I love webinar day. It is one of my favorite days of the month. So I'm having a great time doing these. And if it's something you enjoy doing, I'm happy to have you on here. Make sure you use the chat box in the comment box so that I can see who's here and what you do. Tell me a little bit more about what you do for a living, because that's really helpful. I can tie some really great examples into the webinar itself. You won't have to look at me for too long. I'll tuck myself away and we'll kick into the presentation in just a little bit, give everybody some time to join on and become a part of it. I did just put up next month's webinar on Eventbrite and on Facebook. Well, not next month, it'll be in early August. I'm trying to do it every 6 weeks or so. And the topic is on blog submissions. What people are looking for, finding an easier plan to do it. So if that's something you're interested in, make sure you sign up for the next one. And remember, we put all these on weddingvenuemap.com under the vendor resources. So that way you can always go back and re-watch, because I know how busy we are, and I'm thankful to have you and thankful to have you join. So who's here? Jump to the chat box. Carmen, Katie, Carla. Happy to see everybody in here. Come on in. Make sure you turn off your video and mute. You should be muted already, but make sure you turn off the audio, turn off your video. That way you don't have to worry about anybody else hearing you. Let's see, Amanda, I think your video might be on. But happy to see everybody jumping on. Excited to have you as a part of today's webinar. It should be a fun one. Make sure you drop into the chat box and let me know if you're here and what it is that you do for a living, so that way I can make it more specific. Oh yeah, sorry. Thanks, Katie. The cats sneak by sometimes on the video. But welcome to the webinar. So if you haven't been to one of these before, we have a pretty good time. I try to make it as lively as possible, give you as much information as possible in a short amount of time. The maximum amount of time is an hour, and that's usually only if you guys are being interactive through the chat, asking questions. I'm trying to get as much information as you can to be able to learn as much as possible. I'm excited for this month's topic because I think that it's something that we don't talk enough about in the wedding and event industry. Being grateful is sometimes hard. We're all really busy and have so much going on, and so it's something easy to go to the back of the mind. I know sometimes when I watch webinars and do learning, it's things I already knew but maybe didn't really put into my workflow, or I haven't really made it as much of a priority as I should have. So yeah, you don't want to forget. Being grateful is one of those things that we always seem to remember well around Thanksgiving, that it's time to be grateful and be thankful for things in our life, but that isn't always the case the rest of the year. I got to get the morning coffee hit in. So it's just about 10 o'clock. I'll give it another minute or two and we'll get started. Don't forget there's a chat box. If you have questions or you have something to share, please feel free to use it. Make sure you're muted and video is off. So that way you can kind of take advantage of the video and take advantage of all the pieces and parts. Make sure that you participate. If you have something to say or have something you want to share, it's helpful. It's helpful for other people. This isn't just all about me. For those who don't know much about me, you'll learn a little bit more about me today, about how I feel about this topic. If you lose connection for whatever reason, just click on the link you got emailed out again and it will pop right back up. so that way you don't have to worry about it. And I am going to start the presentation. So welcome today for everybody who decided to jump on and come. I'm super duper happy to have you. Today's topic is something that I get really excited about, and it's about grind and be grateful. So we all work really hard. We all have so much going on, but it's remembering the ways to show gratefulness in everything that we do. So let me pop up the presentation. Okay, ignore the fact that you can see my other screen. There we go. Okay. So let me know if for whatever reason you cannot see the presentation, because you should be able to see it now. But again, if you have anything to share, don't hesitate to make sure you say what you need to say. And if you can't see the presentation, let me know. But you should be good to go. I'm going to turn off my video so that way we can focus on the information today. All right, so today's topic, welcome. Thank you for coming. Drop into the comments, as we're getting started. I'm doing some, housekeeping stuff. Tell me what you're grateful for today. Every day we wake up and there's so much great things going on in life, and it's easy to forget with the amount of stuff that we have to do that we should be grateful and we should be thankful for the things around us. So what are you thankful for today? What are you grateful for? And it's a Tuesday, right? It seems like, oh, it's just another Tuesday. But as it should be, you should still be thankful for the things that are going on every day. So what are you grateful for on this wonderful morning?
Hey, Shannon, can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you, but mute your video on your side.
Is it muted or no?
No, but I'll mute it. I'll see if I can mute it for you.
I got it.
There we go. Okay. So that's the great thing about Zoom. Everybody can jump on here and see and mute and, close them out. And so we can all get on and talk at the end. So let's see. What are you guys thankful for today? Family, friends, help, having a job that I love. That's an awesome one. Being my own boss, being able to travel, lots of great things to be grateful for. My biggest thing this morning was I woke up and there's just so much going on and so many things happening that, I start running through the list in my head, and immediately I wake up to the smell of coffee. And so, knowing that my boyfriend went out of his way to get up, he gets up much earlier than I do to start a cup of coffee makes a big deal. And I was grateful for it. So just remembering to take a minute to be grateful. I'm Shannon Tarrant. I own the wedding venue map for those who haven't had a chance to go on and see it. It is an online resource for wedding venues in the Central Florida area. It includes all 300 plus venues and allows couples to search, sort, and narrow down. I put these webinars on that website afterwards. You just go to vendor resources and they live there, so you can always go back and rewatch it. And I also own the Shannon Experience, and that's a small business consulting company for people mostly in the wedding and event industry, but all the same rules apply. So I do have a few clients in other industries as well. So what are you going to learn today? What does being grateful actually mean? How can you create a grateful mindset, ways to show your new grateful attitude, ideas to say thank you, creating a grateful culture, and why saying thank you can have such a positive impact. So I want to start by saying thank you for being here. I know it's hard to take time away from life and, life and family and work to be here. So I try to make the time as important and useful to you as possible. This topic really started because of a friend of mine. She's done an amazing job in the wedding industry, but works with a lot of different vendors in different categories and sometimes feels underappreciated. And there was a specific circumstance, and it was just, somebody that she has set a lot of business to and just wasn't appreciative of that. It was a more kind of attitude. So usually most of my webinars spark off of a topic that I'm having, like random conversation with someone. And I was like, oh, maybe I should do more about how to be grateful and how to say thank you. So that's how today's topic started. So being thankful and being grateful is about creating a culture around it. It's changing the way that you look at each and every day, not just specific circumstances. It helps with better relationships in every area of your business or your company that you work for, including customers and the vendor partners we work with. It also makes you being a much stronger leader. For those of you who have a team or work with a team, or can consider, our vendor partners that we work with as a team, but when you can focus on the positive traits of those around you rather than their weaknesses, it makes you a much stronger leader all in all. So the definition of gratitude is a noun. And I thought it was interesting because I think people interchangeably use the words gratitude and thankful. And that's not really, gratitude is the quality of being thankful. It's the readiness to show the appreciation and to return kindness. The word kindness is in the definition. So it's making sure that it's authentic. It's just not saying thank you, but how do you do it in an authentic way to return that kindness. So gratitude helps you achieve more, right? There's all these studies out there, and I've done all this research, and it really, when you're a grateful person, it increases your determination, your energy, your performance. Grateful people tend to live healthier lives. They tend to produce more than those who aren't grateful. It creates that special enthusiasm for what you're doing, because when you're thankful and appreciative and grateful for it, other people tend to catch on with that. So it really helps you become a more productive person. It helps you achieve more overall. It builds better relationships. So this next section, we're really going to kind of talk about vendor relationships and how in any form of business that you work with, this is anybody that you would work with that doesn't work with your company, that works outside your business. So, for me, I know how much when someone is thankful in whichever way they choose to show it, and that when they show me gratitude, that it feels really good, right? You sit there and you say, wow, they actually appreciate me and appreciate what I do. And that feeling is what really helps to build those better relationships. We all get really busy, and sometimes we forget. Sometimes we forget to say it, forget to share it. And so we'll talk about some ways, but how does it really do that? Well, grateful people pay it forward. So people who've been helped with the task or helped, are more likely to help others. So it creates this circle, of never-ending gratefulness. When you say thank you to someone, they turn around and say thank you to the other person. And so it really helps create better relationships all the way through. Grateful people get along better with others. This was some research by Harvard Business School, and it was happier people give more, which giving makes people happier. So that happiness, it creates this forever, these forever circles and these forever loops. You're more conscientious, you're more agreeable, you're more open and extroverted. So with all of those pieces, that's how it helps you build better relationships. When you have that kind of attitude, I don't know about you, but I want to surround myself by those people who make me feel good and give me the warm and fuzzies. So how do we say thank you and show our vendor partners that we're grateful? So I always like to make sure I leave you guys with takeaways. So I just put together a quick list and thought we could throw some ideas, and realize how simple this really is if you make sure you take the time to do it. So how to say thank you. The number one is to acknowledge them, is to find a way to acknowledge feedback. So my previous boss had a great quote: feedback is a gift, be it positive or negative. Getting that information and acknowledging it when someone shares something with you. It's like saying thank you to those who complain. People who complain and tell you did a bad job or they're not happy with it, they actually tried to help you. I recently was at a networking event, and I tried one of the cupcakes. It's from a company I've known for years and years and years, and I know they do an amazing job. But the cupcake was bad, really bad. It just wasn't up to the quality and par that I would expect from this vendor. So, it's touchy. Everybody knows me for my big mouth, and, I share and really working on doing it with tact, and doing it considering other people's feelings. But, I thought, would I want to know? Would I want to know if I put a product out there that wasn't good or less than par? So maybe I had the chance to make it up. And so I told them. I mean, I shared in a nice way and made sure that I didn't hurt feelings. I kind of asked them, would you want to know? And they were like, yeah, of course we'd want to know, and told them. And, they were so grateful that someone actually said something. And they turned around and said, well, maybe we'll sponsor the next thing so that we can, make it up to them. And there was reasons behind it. It was just one of those days that was an oops. But if you don't know, but you have to acknowledge it. So, and tell people when you do something with the feedback. Share what you did. And so finding ways to acknowledge it by just saying you acknowledge it makes a big difference. My other best example in this category is to not forget the quote unquote little guys. There's a lot of new vendors who come on the scene in the event industry, in the wedding industry, in any area of business. There's always a new person who could do something different. There's a new plumber, a new electrician. There's always somebody new on the scene. I have made a career out of not forgetting the little guys, making sure that I always take the time and take the effort to meet with people and find out about their business and find out their story. The little guys, number one, often become the big guys. I met with wedding planners 10 years ago in my career that most people wouldn't have spoken to, who thought they were going to go out of business. And now those little guys are the big guys in town. They're planners that have lasted the test of time. They do an amazing job. And we had built a great relationship early on. I have a really specific example of this. So the company Complete Events apparently has been around for a long time in Central Florida. It's not anyone that I knew. Somebody had referred their new marketing salesperson, Amanda, to reach out to me to get her hands on a venue map because she was looking to reach out to different venues and meet with them and thought it would be helpful to have the map. So we scheduled a time to get together for coffee. We spent about an hour and a half together. I found out her story, the story of the company, learned a lot about them, how they do what they do, what makes them different, shared my story with the map and my history behind working at venues and working for a catering company and how long I had been around in Central Florida. But we really bonded. It could have been very easy for me to tell this girl that I'm not interested and I don't, she's just another person who sent an email saying, do you want to meet? But she was tenacious and she said, I want to meet and I want to learn. So I met and spent the time with her. Well, this person has proceeded to go around and meet with all of these venues all over town and share with them, hey, I found about you on the wedding venue map. And I learned you. And she is literally my biggest new cheerleader. I have known people in this industry for 15 plus years. I have known her for like 3 months. But she's hungry and she's out there and, she's putting herself out there, making an effort. But by acknowledging her and putting that time in, it was simple. We had coffee and breakfast. It wasn't a big deal. But by spending that time with someone, it really makes a huge difference. And it's made a difference in my business. Okay, number 2, celebration events. This is kind of a standard in our industry, right? The problem, I think, is that we tend to do things all out, all the way, huge, big, over the top, or we don't do it at all, right? Because we're wedding and event people. So we don't have crappy food. We don't not do decor. We don't put plastic tablecloths on the table. It's just not what we're best at. So sometimes I think we really overthink the celebration event as to what it needs to be. It doesn't have to be a huge event for 200 people. You can do something outrageously memorable for just one person. There was one time that I had a wedding planner who called me and said, hey, we bought a box, at the Magic game, not at the Magic game, at Orlando City Soccer, and would love to give you 2 tickets to attend the game with us. And it was so different. Nobody had ever done something like that before. And we had the best time. I had so much fun. There was 25, 30 of us in the section. Everybody was from the industry. A lot of us knew each other, but it was really fun. We had a really great time. But that wasn't so much her hosting a huge party where she had to put something on. Celebrationing and doing events with people is even going to where they are and spending quality time with them. Go to their office, to their place of business, learn about them one-on-one. Invite them to learn something new at an event you host. For example, like this webinar. This for me is a celebration event. It's my thank you to the industry that I love, that I try to do it as often as I can, to really share what I've learned and help people grow their business. So, you know, if you're a florist, you could invite people over to learn how to make bouquets or make centerpieces for the holidays. You know, but you can invite them to learn something new, or Selena from Court does an awesome job of inviting, always knowing where the best networking is and inviting people to go out to the networking events. So, but of course you can throw a vendor appreciation party and picnic, invite all of them. It tends to be a little hard in the wedding industry because our lists are very big and very long, and it can be expensive to do it. So just remember that it doesn't have to be a big, huge deal. Number 3 is personal gifts. You know, this is one of those things that can get expensive, but it doesn't have to be. You could get a book that would help somebody that you know is struggling with something in an area of their business or an area of work. You can send a treat. You know, we all love food and all of those things. You can get a gift card. Starbucks now, you can put your logo on their gift cards, send Starbucks cards, upscale swag. Just make sure if you send swag or you can give a gift, get creative with it and make sure that it's useful. Make sure you're not giving somebody something that they're just going to throw away. Then you're wasting money. It's not about doing all things for all people. It's about being specific and being grateful to for specific occasions. Lots of other ways to say thank you. You can do loyalty rewards. You can create some kind of program for referrals. Let's say, you know, for every 10 events they send you a year, you give them a free photo booth if you're a photo booth company. But it's a great way to say thank you. Like if you were a cake company, you could say, you know, half off a birthday cake, or, you know, sheet cakes, you know, with basic happy birthday on them, you know, at no cost twice a year or something like that. That creates some kind of loyalty rewards program. You can do exclusive gifts only to people who follow your business on social media and share companies' posts, your posts. You can do surprise upgrades for vendors, but saying thank you to clients and suppliers that have helped you hit a significant milestone. So like this year, Orlando Wedding and Party Rentals has been in business for 10 years. You know, yes, they're planning a little event to say thank you. So they're using it to plan an event, but you don't have to do an event. You can just, you know, send out something nice and some kind of special thank you that says, thank you for being here this long with me. Number 5 is notes and letters. This is like my whole career has been built on this. I am the queen of the handwritten thank you note. If you don't know me that well, then if you know me well enough, you've probably received one. But make sure that it's simple. You know, sign your own name, like with a pen. Don't print it. Thank your clients immediately. Don't make it an automatic autoresponder. Be specific. Make it handwritten. You know, in terms of cards, other time of the year, I used to do a ton of birthday cards, but my list got a little out of control. So I slowed that down a little bit, but I know my previous team still continues with it. So vendor birthday cards, but also think about sending greeting cards on non-traditional celebration days, right? On your birthday, you expect to receive a card. But what if I'm making this up, I don't know, but let's say, you know, there's a day in April and it's, you know, National Flower Day. You know, sending a card to all of the florists in town that you partner with saying, you know, we just want to celebrate you on National Flower Day. It's something different. It's something unique, something they really wouldn't expect, versus we all kind of expect the Christmas, the holiday, all of those. I mean, the best way to say thank you is referrals and endorsements. Because that's like direct money, right? When you send leads and you send referrals in a strong manner, meaning you don't just hand somebody a listing, here's you should go talk. You get specific. You kind of sell them before they even call them. That is the best way to say thank you to our vendor partners. You can endorse and recommend each other on social media. That's a really popular way to get in people's good graces, but a great way to say thank you, writing Google reviews, Facebook reviews, LinkedIn, wherever they really use for marketing. You can follow, like, share their social media pages and posts. So simple. You know, these are simple, easy ways to do it, but thank them indirectly. One of the other things I like to do when I have an awesome experience is to reach out to their boss and let them know how great they were. I had an awesome tour yesterday at Mason Jardin. I live down the street from the venue. I've driven past it 560 times. I think I went there once in like the early 2000s, but went out there. Tasha was awesome. I had the greatest experience with her. We had so much fun. She showed me the spaces, what they've done, what you can do with all the space. And so I've written a note to her boss to say, she was great. She's a great representation. She's got awesome ideas. But that means so much more sometimes, because a lot of times bosses and supervisors really only hear the negative about people. So make sure that if you have access, I mean, obviously, if somebody owns their own business, I see Drew's on here. I can't call Drew and say, hey, Drew, you're pretty great. But if one of his DJs comes out and does a great job for us, then I'm going to make sure that I let him know also about his staff and his team. So these are some easy ways to do with the vendor partners to say thank you. You don't have to do all of them. You can't be everything to everyone. Just remember to take something from it and do tiny little things and say, make sure you show gratitude to your vendor partners because it will grow your business. Like, I promise you, it works. Gratitude makes you a better leader. So we're going to talk a little bit about staff. Although not everybody has staff on their team, at the same time, it still applies to places you work with, and some of these same things can tie right back into the vendors. If you have staff on your team, drop a note in the box. If you don't, put a yes in the box. If you do, put a note in the chat if you don't. That way I can get an idea of how many people have a team. So gratitude makes you a better leader. Being grateful helps you to focus on the positive of your team rather than their weakness and mistakes. I think as a new manager when I was younger, I was really bad about this. I was always trying to help people fix and improve and get better, but that just made them feel bad all the time. So, when you hone in on someone's strengths more than their weaknesses, it improves their performance. And I know we all feel the same way. Again, these things all apply to vendors as well. When you make your employees happy, they also make your customers happy. So remembering, A equals B. A lack of gratitude creates a culture of selfishness that has a negative effect on morale. This is also, remember, on wedding day or on event day, we all kind of work together as a team. So while you may not be employees, but technically on wedding day, you're on the same team. So when there's no gratitude, no thankfulness, people become selfish and it's much more negative. So how expressing gratitude can help your business thrive. It improves your employee performance. When people feel their best and their work is appreciated and they're trusted by their boss, they become more loyal. They are also more motivated to get to work, do the best job, and they rarely quit. That's shocking, and I've seen that happen. It enhances self-esteem. When you thank people for their daily contribution, they become grateful for the opportunity to work for that company. And what a change of pace, of feeling like I have to go to work and saying working here is a great opportunity. It boosts self-esteem, improves overall performance. Your employees and team members will start to face your customer with a more positive attitude and be able to deal with any problems that arise on the job. When you feel like you're a valuable member of the organization instead of a commodity that can be disposed of, you're better able to deal with the problems, which overall reduces stress. I've worked for both ends of the spectrum. I've worked for companies and partnered with companies who forever will keep employees because they have loyalty for maybe too long, sometimes with people who don't perform. And I've worked for companies who just throw people away the minute that they're not getting what they need out of it. So, and I've seen both ends of the spectrum. And I think that in general, there's a happy medium in between. But gratitude is contagious. When you express gratitude to your employees, they perceive you as more responsive and caring, which in turn encourages them to express concern for you and your organization. This is really important on wedding day, right? When you care about how another vendor is doing and how their setup is, and if their timing is off, then they also in turn, maybe not that day you don't need the help, but they also in turn will feel that way to you. So it boosts empathy back and forth and problem solving abilities. So a few quick ways to express gratitude to your employees. But this applies in every area of life, to your friends, to your family, to your employees. Gratitude is only valuable when it comes from a genuine and authentic place. So the goal is for it to be positive, productive relationships that inspires everybody to go beyond the call of duty every time. So that's how you end up increasing your bottom line in your business. But tell them sincerely, when's the last time you actually thanked people for doing their job? I know it sounds stupid, but I worked for years for a company that no one ever said thank you. And every day I grinded and grinded and grinded and grinded. And it was like, well, that's what's expected. And to shift from that attitude to my next place of employment, that was it was thank you all the time. It was so motivating. It was so uplifting. But I never realized that I missed it, that I wasn't getting the thank you until all of a sudden I started getting the thank you. And then the first people I ever quote unquote managed were interns. And one of the things I did with my interns, I said thank you every day. Every day when they left, I said thank you. I appreciate your help today. And I don't know, about 2 months in, one of the girls was like, you don't have to thank us. That's what we're here to do. And I was like, well, I want you to know that I appreciate you. But for her, it really meant a lot. So making sure that you are sincere in your thank you. But when somebody does something well, offer a deliberate thank you. So send them thank you notes. I thought it was so interesting. I read this article, Campbell's Soup was struggling years ago. So they hired a new CEO, and his entire focus was shifting to being more employee-centric. And he started by writing thank you notes. He wrote like 20 thank you notes a day to staffers at every single level. 20 thank you notes a day. Could you imagine writing 20 a day? CEO of a company made it a priority and said, thank you. No one's contribution was too small. He used to invite people out to lunch and ask for their feedback in a casual, informal setting to say, thank you. But those notes were, meant a lot to that staff. So every month, pick 1 or 2 employees, vendors, somebody, and write a short note thanking them. Be specific, mention the occasion when they helped, move a project forward or helped you do something, but it makes a big difference. Give them gifts. This is kind of one of the things we talked about, but as an employer, one of the things you can do is you can make, it doesn't always have to be a huge financial commitment. So I've worked at places that got us gym memberships at half off and got us coupons and deals at local businesses. That was a big deal. The catering company I used to work for, every day we had lunch together. The chef made us lunch every day. We sat down at a table, had like our family meal. That to me was a gift. It was like their way of saying thank you. Thank you for coming in today and working so hard and making sure that you don't have to take a ton of time, away to have to figure out what are you going to do for lunch today. It was great to just show up every day. That to me was a gift. So it's not always about, obviously we're not all huge companies that can do, Virgin employees get 50% off all flights and products and blah, blah, blah. We obviously can't do that in the small business world, but you can find ways to do things that say thank you, sending gifts and things like that. The other big one is supporting their growth. So for me, the first time that I worked somewhere that said, what tools do you need to be successful? And I was like, well, it would be really great if I could have access to this computer program and this computer program. One was like a video software and one, it wasn't a huge expense. It was probably a total of about $500 a year for the 2 programs I wanted access to. But for me, that was huge. Like, it made a really big difference for me when somebody was able to, give me the tools that I needed to support me growing and learning more. So think about when you're with a team, sending them to conferences, giving them tools to be more successful, how you can help them grow, giving them books maybe out of your own library that you think could help them, whether they choose to read it or not. At least it's a way of you showing how much you care by supporting their growth. Remember to be intentional with your gratitude or it doesn't feel authentic. I think we've all gotten that thank you card where it's kind of like, blah, blah, blah. Thanks so much for your help. I appreciated it. I'm still grateful for it even when I get any kind of note, but I don't think it gives the same punch as when it really is true gratitude and you're truly appreciative and truly thankful. Gratitude helps you sell better. So now we're going to talk about how to say thank you to your customers better and a million different ideas of ways to do that. So I know everybody always makes fun of me because I'm so sales focused, but once you realize that doing this, you can actually literally sell more. It makes it easier for you to connect with your customers, which makes them more willing to buy from you, right? People buy from people they know, like, and they trust. When you have a grateful attitude, it heightens your mood and it makes you more personable because you're in a much better place. You're not focusing on the negativity, you're focusing on the positivity. When you're more relatable, it's more likely that your customers will like you and trust you and then therefore buy from you. So as much as this all sounds like big old hullabaloo about, oh, be grateful, I know I should be more grateful, but, be grateful with a purpose, knowing that it can get you there. I love this quote. What makes gratitude meaningful isn't the intensity of it, but the specificity of it. So this is what we were talking about, being clear. It helps to show gratitude to your customers when you're specific. Customers are more likely to return to brands that make a sincere effort to show the customer that their business is appreciated. And maybe it's not always a return business. I understand we're in the wedding and events industry, a lot of us, and so they're not always going to return for something to buy something else from you because if they're already married. But your version of a return is the referral. So you still want to say thank you in all the same ways. So let's talk about ways to show your customers that you're grateful. I put them all on one slide. That way you guys have them all in one spot, but I'll talk a little bit more about each one. So let's remember to appreciate the negative. Not everyone is going to like you. I live this every day because while many people may love me and my sharing and my oversharing, sometimes I rub some people the wrong way. Or sometimes, I do something in my business that, the customer thinks it doesn't make sense. It's frustrating, whatever. That when that negativity comes, be appreciative. Love on your enemies. Use it as motivation to get better and to prosper. So the tiniest example was I use a customer relationship management system, and one of my customers was filling out a form yesterday, and when she clicked on something, it opened up within the same window. And it was annoying her because if she went back, then it deleted everything she had filled in the form. So it was this circle of disaster. So I jumped onto the help on my system and kind of said, hey, is there a way to prevent this? Because she's getting frustrated with it. I can try to educate my customers to not do that. But, and their immediate response was, thank you so much. That's a really great idea. We're going to give it to our developers and see if we can fix that problem. Anybody else could have said, no, sorry, that's just the way it is, but they appreciated the feedback. So that makes a big difference. A great way to appreciate your customers, is to say thank you for it. Feedback is a gift, quote unquote. All right, so have a customer appreciation sale. This is a great way to appreciate them, give a special sale that's just for them, whatever that looks like in your business. So let's say you are a planner, and so they've already booked you for planning services, and you have something that you can upgrade an additional package or some way they can enhance your package into something else. Email those current customers and say, listen, I know when you first signed up with me, you opted to not have this. We're having a customer appreciation sale, and we're giving you a deal on such and such services. For you, maybe potentially you upgraded something and got them to add on. But if, let's say you're a rental company and they've ordered a package and they've got lights and, furniture and tables and chairs, every 3 or 4 months, you can have a customer appreciation sale, and whatever product you want to push or you want to share, or 10% off any add-ons, that's a great way to say thank you. Right? Because to them, you just increase sales, but to them, it is something that looks like it's as an appreciation to them. Write a thank you note. I'm not going to say it anymore. I've said it 7,000 times, but be specific and be personal with your thank you notes to your customers. Also, send them a thank you note when they book you, and when they become a customer. Send them a thank you note after the event or at the event. Put it in the box of wedding cards, but find a way to do it. Offer a surprise upgrade. This is a great one. I'm going to go off on a little tangent, but one of the things I've been talking about with one of my frienders is that sometimes we spend so much time and energy and effort into inspiration shoots and photo shoots and things like that. And one of the conversations we had is, why not just upgrade something they're already doing so you can get better photos of it? You already know it's a professional photographer. You already know that, if it's somebody that you get the images from, okay, let's leave that in there. But why not offer somebody a surprise upgrade? You can do something so that it benefits for you, but at the end of the day, that for them makes a big difference, and it's a great way to say thank you, especially if it's somebody who's a repeat customer in your business. The element of surprise is a really powerful thing. Help your customers learn something new. This is that same point that we talked about when it comes to vendors. So, let's say you own a coffee shop. Let me take it totally out of the industry. You own a coffee shop. If you did like a regular event where you bring in an expert to talk about coffee and do free coffee tastings, or if you were at a bar at a brewery and do tastings, the more educated your customers become about what you do, the more they appreciate things like the coffee and the more valuable they are and will keep coming back. So help them learn something new and something free about, doing some kind of event or something like that, or sharing articles and information. But that's a great way to say thank you. Let's see. Show you value the feedback. So tell them how you've implemented their suggestions. If somebody gives you a review, I'll go back a million years ago, but I had this wedding and everything was stunning and it was so perfect. And she wrote me a review and she slammed us because we didn't cut the cake right. Okay, I'm the caterer. I don't make the cake. I didn't know that you had, her cake was 3 times the size it should have been for that guest count. And she wrote this beautiful review, except at the bottom it was like, oh, they ruined the cake. There was all this leftover. I didn't want leftovers, blah, blah, blah. They should have cut and served it all. So I replied and was like, oh, thank you so much. I appreciate you letting us know. For future reference, we are now, as part of our policy, we are going to ask couples, do you want to save the leftover cake or cut it all? Is it the same flavor in the whole cake? Is it different flavors in different tiers? We cut from the top down. Like, I explained to them what processes we were changing to say, thank you for telling us, because now we're going to do something different. You want them to feel like they have an open line of communication to you, because the more open they feel, the better they'll share. And, those conversations are an opportunity to gather more feedback. I know I always feel better when, example with my CRM, when they write back and say, that's a really good idea, we're going to give that to our developers and implement it. I was like, all right, like I came up with a good idea. So that's a great way to say thank you, is showing that you value it when they tell you. Hold in-store events after hours. If you're in a location and you have doors that open, have something that give your frequent customers that VIP feeling. I'll go way back to my days in retail when I was in high school. I worked at American Eagle for years and years and years. And way back when it was only paper coupons and we didn't really even have email yet, the friends and family sale was like the most coveted coupon in the world. It only happened like 3 or 4 times a year. It was after the mall closed. So the mall closed, but American Eagle would stay open. They would open really early on a Sunday. It was always on a Sunday because the mall was only open from like 10 to 4. They'd open at 8 and they'd stay open until 8 o'clock at night. And so, but if you had the coupon, could you come in and you got 20% off everything in the store. It was always during back to school and before the holidays, but that VIP feeling of like, oh, you have something special, it makes a difference. It shows that you're a valued customer. So finding ways to do that makes a big difference. Remember sometimes that gratitude is really about wowing just one customer. Give one of your customers a customer service experience that's so delightfully over the top that one lucky customer has this amazing story to tell. If you get creative enough, they'll tell their family, their friends, their social media people. They'll be retelling the story for days and weeks. So remember wowing your customers and saying thank you. I mean, it's great if you do for all of them all the time. But remember that sometimes that huge wow can go to just one person. You can start a loyalty program. Customers love the red carpet treatment. That's why we love Amazon Prime and Zappos Rewards. And it doesn't have to be complex. You can do an annual discount on their anniversary or, on your company anniversary. It doesn't have to be something where you're doing a ton of tracking. Just remember that whatever you call your loyalty program, you want to just get people invited in the process. And then there's always free goodies. If you're in a hard location, like you have a storefront, having coffee and water, if you're meeting couples at 8 o'clock at night, beer and wine, stuff like that to make them, want to comfortable and happy. But I know it's stupid, but the grocery store that has the, free tastings is Fresh Market. You do these tastings like once a month. I go grocery shopping there on that night because I know I'm going to walk around and eat. I'm going to eat delicious little snacks, probably buy and spend more, but it seems so simple because companies are doing it all around us. Gratitude inspires others. When you lead example, you encourage others to follow suit. If you're constantly stressed and ungrateful, you risk losing those vendor partners, clients, employees, and opportunities that may pass by unnoticed because you don't have an attitude of gratitude. If you set an example to those around you, they'll start to display the same attitude in return. You want to inspire loyalty, positivity, productivity, and gratitude in people all around you. Always remember that gratitude is about the whole person. Recognizing rewards, performance, and achievement, what you accomplish. It's about your inherent worth. As when you feel grateful and you feel like someone else is grateful for you, it changes the way you feel about yourself. So it's about the whole person. It's not about celebrating that someone had record-breaking sales. It's about that they had a caring and helpful spirit and what they're doing for others. So remember, it's not just those number achievements and achieving set goals. It's about the small achievements too. It's not one size fits all, which is really interesting because I remember working with a consulting client and she was like so frustrated because her employees, had commissions and money and levels and all of those things. And if she gave them a massage for like hitting their numbers as a way of saying great job, was way more exciting to them to get a free massage than the commission they would have made, which funny enough, they could have bought 5 massages with. So remember that everybody's individual language of appreciation is very different. You can risk miscommunication if you assume everybody likes the same thing. I used to have staff who worked for me that was not all about public displays and public praise. They got really embarrassed by it. They were super introverted. So putting them up on a stage to give them an award was like painful. So make sure that you realize, don't give a coffee gift card to somebody who doesn't drink coffee. Don't mail a card if you don't know that they actually check their mail every now and then. So you want to appreciate people for the different things because we're all different, not everybody for the same thing. It has to be a part of your culture every day. One of the keys to a successful gratitude program is really consistency. Add it to the beginning of a staff meeting, or every day wake up and on your social media be grateful for something. But you have to infuse it you have to get into the habit. You meet with somebody, you write a thank you card. Just doing once a year saying thank you, it doesn't cut it anymore. Not to slam the generation, but millennials aren't the most loyal when it comes to employees and vendors that they refer and things, because it's a constant work in progress. It's not a once a year thank you. So just remember, it has to be part of your culture every day. So a few quick tips on how to become more grateful. Surround yourself with like-minded people. The people that complain and are negative all the time and are not fun to be around, those are just not the people you want in your circle. If those are the people you're surrounding yourself with, you are most likely to start to take on those traits. It's not something I do, but I know a lot of people who keep a gratitude journal. At the end of every day, they literally just write down 3 things that they were grateful for that day, or at the start of every day. For a few friends who I know who do it, they're much more motivated and focused. They could kind of set clear goals and finish the tasks because they were doing things with a thankful heart. So if that works for you, by all means, I do the next one. I like, this is going to sound silly and you're not even going to believe I do this, but I do it all the time. I have little notes on my desk in my drawers that say I'm thankful or I'm grateful. And it's places that I'm going to see it all the time. There's one in my wallet buried in the back. So if I dig in there for something, when I see that I'm thankful or I'm grateful card, that's all it says on it is I'm thankful or I'm grateful. When I see that, it immediately changes my mind to think, what am I grateful for right now? It's so small. It's, most other people, if you've been to my house, you've never even seen it because it's tucked away, but it's somewhere that I'm going to see it every day. It's about where will you see it, but trying something different you have to change your mindset. This is behavior based. It's not going to happen overnight. Being grateful equals success. I mean, it's happy employees, better vendor relations, overall achievement increases, and so much more improves when you have more of a grateful spirit. Cultivate the habit of being grateful. I have a lot to be thankful for. Being thankful is the knowledge that keeps me sane. Being an entrepreneur or being in the event industry is like this emotional roller coaster. It's up and down, it's highs and lows. Sometimes you grind and grind and grind. I mean, I just spent the last 6 months of my life, working most of the week trying to build a website, working through the project and gathering data and all of this work. And if you're not grateful at some point in that process, like, oh Lordy, how could you even begin to not get discouraged, not get frustrated? You have to focus on the little successes. Surround yourself with the people who support you and remind you to be grateful. Think of the vision that you have for yourself long term. Chances are you've done a lot of things that many other people haven't done. And if you're intentional about focusing on the things that you do and the things that you're succeeding in, it makes it easier to go through the tough seasons when you're kind of in that not so great place. I have a few more little teeny tiny things to go over, but I want to open up the conversation on the chat. So if you guys have, pop open the chat box if you haven't already. And if you have any questions for me or something you want to share, I do have a monthly newsletter that'll go out. It includes upcoming webinars, what's coming up. It also now is going to include upcoming networking events. So if that's something you're interested in knowing about, when NACE, ABC, MPI, PWG, all the local networking events for our industry are, that's going to start going out in that monthly newsletter. Collaboration opportunities, advertising options on weddingvenuemap.com, updates on the site, all of that will go out in the newsletter. So if you're interested, make sure you type that link in real quick and sign up for it. And our next webinar is about blog submissions. It's in August. It's Tuesday, August 14th. Oh yeah, hold on. Let me paste the link. There you go. Hold on. I'll put it in for you, epearl.com/DLX. There you go. So now you can click right through to it. Oops, I think I only sent it to Amanda. Let me send it through to everybody, to everyone. Okay, there you go. There's the link to sign up for the newsletter to make it easy for you. The next webinar is about creating a plan to get published and blog submissions. I know everybody complains about it. I'm not going to get too deep into blogging itself. We will talk about why you should do it, where to submit, how to submit, what you want to learn. It'll be in early August. I do also want to know, before you guys scoot out today, I want to know what your biggest takeaway was today. What do you think you learned, or what are you going to try in terms of being more grateful? I think that it's such an important piece of our everyday lives that we really need to do. Hold on, let me click my video back on so I can see you. So take 2 minutes and let me know what you're going to try and what you're going to do. I really appreciate your time. It means a lot to me for those who choose to come on and be live and be able to share with me, but also for those who come back and watch the webinars later. If you missed any part of it, I can email out the slides if you need me to, but all of it will live on weddingvenuemap.com because the slides don't have really all the good info in there. So take a minute and jump into the chat box, please, and let me know what you feel like you learned and what's the biggest thing you're going to try. And thank you so much for taking the time. Let's see, Amanda said hosting events for our frienders is something we'd like to implement. Super awesome way to show appreciation. It is. Hosting events is a great way to do it. Remember, it doesn't have to be huge. It can be small. You know, inviting people over just to see your space or to find out more about what you do. There's lots of spaces that are willing to host events for not a ton of money because they get to show their space. So remember to partner, maybe, Amanda, with some of those venues that you've been going and touring with, like going downtown to Ember, or but inviting people over to meet with and take advantage of all those venue and vendor tours that you've been on. Katie, I love notes and letters, so maybe I'll add a little gift or something in with them now. Vendor love and appreciation is my specialty. Yep, Katie Jimenez with Big Day Celebrations does a really good job of it. She's always going online and writing reviews for other businesses and other companies because I know she gets really excited every time she gets a positive review. It gives her the warm and fuzzies, so she likes to give them in return. Thank you guys for coming. I really appreciate your time. I did record this. This will be up on the site. If you have any questions, don't hesitate ever to reach out to me at shannon@weddingvenuemap.com. And I look forward to finding out more about what you guys want to learn about so I can teach. Have a great day. Thank you.